We are so good. Everybody makes a big deal out of being able to beat us. I don't mean they're better than us, and it doesn't mean that just because you win the championship that you have a better conference. It just means you have one better team. We had 5 teams in the playoffs last year. I think we'll have that many teams in the playoffs again.
Welcome to the Third Down Conversation, your place for sports and entertainment. I am the Turnip Seed. Let's talk about it. Welcome on into the Third Down Conversation, my good people. Please remember to like and subscribe so you can always get the latest and the greatest from the Third Down Conversation. Nick Saban. He jumps into the second greatest sports debate on earth. Which conference is better, the SEC or the Big Ten? He explains that just because you win the national championship, that doesn't mean you have the best conference. It just means that you have the best team. Now, this is ironic because the SEC has always said for years now that they are the best conference. And what they would do to promote themselves as the best conference, they would say that we won the national championship. It just means more. Now, for my previous episode, when I was detailing the Alabama season, the Alabama prediction, if you haven't listened to it yet, go back and check it out. I stated that winning the national championship should not be the end-all, be-all as far as which conference is the best. It should be more in-depth. It should be more value placed on the depth of your conference. But Nick Saban's words have ruffled the feathers of a few coaches in the ACC and also the Big Ten. It doesn't help matters when ESPN puts out a top 20 list of teams with the toughest schedule. And of those top 20 teams, every single team from the SEC is listed. Every single one. There's only 4 teams from the Big Ten listed, and those teams are Ohio State, Michigan, USC, and Northwestern. There is no team from the ACC or the Big 12. If you did not know, ESPN is in bed with the SEC, much like Fox is in bed with the Big Ten. The number one toughest schedule per ESPN is Arkansas. Arkansas' schedule is pretty difficult. They travel to Utah, which is a solid team in the Big 12. They play Georgia. They play Texas A&M on the road, Tennessee, Texas, and LSU. That's pretty tough, right? It's pretty tough. But this whole toughest schedule thing starts to make you look at it sideways when you see that Ohio State is ranked to have the 8th toughest schedule. And if you go and look at Ohio State's schedule, they play at Texas. They get Illinois at home. They've got Iowa on the road. They go to Indiana. They go to USC. Oregon at home. On the road at Nebraska. And finish with Michigan at home. There are a lot of teams in the Big Ten with cupcake schedules for sure. But Ohio State should be top 3. Easily top 3, not number 8. But again, ESPN is in bed with the SEC. This led to Rhett Lashlee, former offensive coordinator of Auburn, current head coach of the SMU Mustangs in the ACC, kind of kicking back on those rankings as far as the toughest schedule. This is Rhett speaking from ACC Media Days. Whenever some of y'all can figure out how we can have preseason strength of schedules and power rankings before anybody else has played a game, y'all let me know. What happened last year doesn't matter. That's how Rhett feels. And that's a direct shot at the SEC and ESPN. Because ESPN is always putting out the Football Power Index rankings, and now they're coming with a whole strength of schedule type of deal. He goes on to say that there's no real data to determine those rankings. And he's not completely wrong. I would say 3/4 of what he is saying is correct. But that last little portion, I got a bit of an issue with, because it is being said, or these rankings are being created based on how teams did last year, what they brought in, and then is a bit of a prediction. That's how they're coming up with it. I don't agree with it. I don't think there should be any preseason rankings, honestly, because in truth, you really don't know. At best, it's an educated guess. Then Curt Cignetti, in the middle of Big Ten media days, he had to jump in. And he didn't take it lightly for the SEC. Here's what Curt had to say. Curt Cignetti is the head coach of Indiana, by the way. We don't run a hype machine up here in the Midwest. We believe everything is earned, not given. When we fall short, we say we fell short. We don't cry a river and whine and complain. All right? And that's why we're the best. And by the best, he's not talking about Indiana. He's talking about the Big Ten. I can't lie. I like what Curt said. I like it. It sounds like an old school SEC coach, because, look, I do believe the SEC is complaining way too much. Are they crying? Yes. Are they whining? Yes. And they're clearly doing it because they're still trying to hold on to the title of the best conference. I do believe the SEC is the best conference due to its depth. However, when you champion this whole campaign of you being the best, and your main data point is the fact that you guys have won this many national championships in a row, and then when you're not doing it anymore and another conference is, you can't then go and change the ball game. You can't then go and move the goalposts. So this all culminates. This all comes back to Nick Saban, because Nick Saban, the great, and some people eyes the GOAT, Nick Saban has a great suggestion. Saban suggests all Power 4 schools should play 12 Power 4 games. And I love it. Yes. The fans would love it as well. Everybody would be on board for that. Think about the money potential. Think about the level of excitement that would bring to the game if every team played 12 Power 4 games. Could we potentially put an end to which conference is the best? No, because there's still going to be things. Human nature has a really fun way of coming up with another issue. But this would be an amazing data point to really determine which conference is better. I think it's a great idea. And I really would like for conferences to do this. I really would like for the ACC, the Big 12, Big 10, and the SEC to get on the same page and make this happen. Yes, the group of 6 would be left out as far as getting those paycheck games. Also, the FCS schools. Sorry. I think college football should move to a mini NFL model. It works for them. Why wouldn't it work for college football? Why not give the fans even more excitement, even more something to look forward to for the season? I don't agree with Saban often. He is a Bammer after all. But Nick, you nailed this one.
Truly great players understand that no NFL scout or general manager or head coach has ever called me and said, how much time did Roquan Smith, how much time did Nakobe Dean play as a freshman? That's not what they care about. You know, what those guys care about are the intangibles, size, speed criteria, leadership skills. How good a football player are they in year 3? That's what they want. They start evaluating those guys really hard in year 3. And, you know, you want to be the best player you can be in 3 years. So where do you go to do that? You go where you can compete against really good people in practice. You get millions more snaps in practice than you do in a game.
That was Kirby Smart. And in that clip, Kirby Smart is talking about development. Players are sacrificing development so that they can maximize their earning potential while in college. I can understand that. I truly can. But how can you be the best player that you can be if you don't get developed? At SEC Media Days, Lane Kiffin spoke on NIL because that is why players are sacrificing their development, and stated that there should be a freshman cap, meaning players coming from high school, they can only make so much as a freshman. I love that idea. And before you give me too much pushback on that, it is no different from the NFL having a rookie cap. David Pollack piggybacked onto what Lane Kiffin stated, and if you don't know who David Pollack is, he is a former defensive end from the University of Georgia, former college game day analyst, and also has a podcast called See Ball, Get Ball. It's a really good podcast. I definitely recommend it. But he stated that teams should have salary caps. And by teams having salary caps, it would bring a level of parity to college football and college sports in general that we've never seen. I agree with both of them. Let's start with the Lane Kiffin aspect of it. The freshman cap. That makes sense. Think about it. We can even put it in a real world situation. If you've been at a company for 3 years and you're making said dollar amount, and then this new person comes in, doesn't have the experience as you, haven't put their time in the company as you, they come in and they are making more than what you're making, you're upset about that. That bothers you. You feel devalued. You feel that the company values them more than you because they're paying them more. And that's how the American brain works when it comes to business. So to not upset the apple cart and keep your locker room intact, have a freshman cap. As far as what David Pollack is saying, every team should have a salary cap. That way, everybody's playing by the same rules from a financial standpoint. Currently, the bigger brands bring in the most money, which means they end up with the best players. All of that goes back to this one question. Has NIL ruined college sports, mainly college football? NIL in its current state, I would have to say yes. It's ruined it for players and also the programs. Let's start with the players. It's ruined it for the players in 3 ways. Kirby Smart talked about the first one. That's development. This is something I spoke on previously as well. But how can you develop when you're jumping from system to system, team to team? How can you graduate when you're jumping from university to university? I've transferred from a university before. And when I transferred, I took like 12 classes and only 3 came with me. It was like I was doing my freshman year all over again. And the workaround is they give you a general studies degree. I think that's so irresponsible of universities to I'm just going to give you this so you can pass. I think we got to be better on that front. Progress to degree has to matter, and I'm talking about a real degree. From a football standpoint, how do you learn a system? How do you get better at a system? Again, you can take it and put it in real world terminology. When you go from job to job and people look at your resume and see how you hop around, that's not a good thing. All that means is you're always looking for the next best thing. You're not trying to build anything. The second thing is resilience. Kirby Smart talked about this towards the end as well, about players leaving and regretting that decision. If you're someone that's third, fourth string, get out of there. I'll be the first to tell you, hey, you need to go find somewhere else you can play. But if you're in the too deep, you're in the rotation, compete. Because life is competition. Like it when we're talking like job-wise, career-wise, life is competition. So you're going to have to build up those skills anyway. Learn them early. The last thing from a player standpoint is winning. Winning used to be everything. You grow up playing basketball, football, baseball, and all you wanted to do was win. And when you didn't win, you were sad, you were distraught. You got to be consoled, right? Because you just want to win. You want to win so badly. It's everything to you. But during this NIL era, everybody wants to win, but they got to win a certain way. What do I mean? I want to win, but I got to be the one to take the last shot. I want to win, but I got to be the quarterback. I want to win, but I got to be the one running the offense. When did just winning not become enough? I think that's really, really hurt the players. From a program standpoint, I really only want to focus on the winning side of things. Winning as a program has never been more important than it is currently. What's interesting is the more you win, the more funds you have to create. So it's like you don't even get any relief when you win. You get more pressure. Of course, you want to win. When I think of winning and how it's so closely tied to money, I think of a marriage that is consistently on the rocks. Stay with me now. Stay with me. Let's say the program is the female of the situation and the finances is the male of this scenario. This program is going to do and do and do and do. And the more they do, they want more and more and more money. At some point, the money is going to say, what more can I give? And then the program is saying, I'm doing these things, I deserve more. So when that happens and sides are starting to kind of butt heads, what usually occurs? An affair. And that third party that comes into it, for the schools, it's like brand deals and trying to find other ways to bring in money. Like Auburn moving a home game to Atlanta. Ohio State is going to have a jersey patch on their jersey from Chase Bank that's going to pay them $17 million. And that's great for Ohio State, but every school don't have that kind of brand recognition to land a $17 million sponsorship. My point in this scenario is that any relationship that is dependent on a third party is more than likely doomed to fail. So just imagine if you can put a cap on the freshmen and a cap on teams, you can actually create a budget and know what number you have to hit. The financial stress and pressure would come off of that marriage. And maybe, just maybe, they can figure it out and get it to a point where everybody eats, meaning basketball, football, baseball, female sports. Because in its current state, those non-revenue sports will more than likely die off. And no one wants that.
Auburn and Florida down at Jordan Hare under the lights. Are those two coaches going to be sort of linked, almost like draft picks that went in different orders where not Sam Bowie and Michael Jordan, but is there ever forever going to be a link between those two?
They both hope they can be Michael out of that.
Yeah.
But maybe we'll do Hakeem and Michael Jordan since Hakeem was the first pick of that draft. But it's so interesting because obviously Sumrall was down the road with Auburn before Florida turned to him, because basically when Kiffin ghosted Florida very seriously approached Sumrall, and Sumrall was pretty engaged with Auburn at the time. And, it turned out he liked the Florida job better and wound up taking it.
That was Andy Staples of On 3 on the show called The Next Round. Golesh and Sumrall will be linked for their careers. Auburn wanted Sumrall, period. Sumrall was the apple of their eye. And much like online dating, things are going great. And next thing you know, you send a text and you get left on red. So Auburn had to pivot. And they land on Golesh, who I think is a great hire. I think Golesh is going to get it done. But also, Golesh has to work for Auburn. He has to. From the Florida standpoint of it, they've only fired one coach since Dan Mullen. That coach lasted 3.5 years, which was Billy Napier. During Billy Napier's full 3 years, year 1, he goes 6-6. I'm not counting the bowl game. Year 2, he goes 5-7. And year 3, he goes 8-5. He didn't get fired until the middle of year 4. The reason why, if Sumrall doesn't work, it's not that bad, because during Billy Napier's time, Florida still had some really, really nice victories over quality teams. And by quality teams, I mean top 25 teams. They beat, in his first year, number 7 Utah. In year 2, they beat number 11 Tennessee. And in year 3, they beat number 21 LSU and number 9 Ole Miss, finishing 8-5 in year 3. That's quality. They're still on decent ground as a program. Now, if you pivot to Auburn hasn't beat a quality team. Again, that means a top 25 team since 2020. Since Gus Malzahn, they have been through 2 coaches. This has to work for Auburn. And you can hear the tremble and nervousness in my voice. It has to work, because if it doesn't, I think Auburn's going to find themselves in the cellar of the SEC. They're already close. Vandy has beat us 2 years in a row. I'm not sure if Auburn has a rival, because usually that means teams take turns beating each other. And when it comes to Georgia and Alabama, Auburn has clearly missed the memo. We haven't won 7 games since 2019. Maybe we are the new Vandy. That can't be the case. Golesh has to work. Because if it doesn't work, I don't know what Auburn turns. If he can't fix it with the culture he's bringing in, how detailed he is, if he can't fix it, then who can? So Golesh, I got faith in you. I got faith in you. But more than anything, I don't want to be at the cellar. Like, I don't want to be the new Vandy. This has been the Third Down Conversation. If you enjoyed the show, please remember to like, subscribe, and share it with a friend. Remember, every down matters, but the conversation starts here. Until next time, keep the chains moving and keep the conversation going. Jesus loves you, and I'm out. Peace.